Hey guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. A few weeks ago, a few videos ago, I redid my goals for the rest of this year, and one of those goals was to read 4 books to round out my total book consumption for the year to 6, which is crap, but more than 2. So I don't know, let's just go through my to be read pile and see what books I have to read that I'm probably not going to read this year. I say, let's see, where are they? My to be read pile, and there's a couple here, and there might be 1 or 2 on here actually. I'm not counting Game of Thrones at the bottom there. I'm not counting those because they're long. Let's bring it down. So my TBR pile is heavy. It's very little compared to some of yours, I'm very sure, because I don't go out and just buy books anymore. I used to, but there's a reason I haven't, and that reason will be explained like in this video. What other book haven't I read? It's on here somewhere. Yes? No? Yes? There, manga. I really should have gotten all these books out, you know, before I did this video. That might have been a bit more helpful. Oh, it's bigger than I thought. Is that it? I don't know, see? That's not my book. It's still technically on my to be read pile. I suppose it is. But it's not my dirty pick up. I've read all of those. Have I? I'm not going to go through them. So this is my to be read pile. Actually, no, it's not. This is my to be read pile. These I just want to read again, so that's why they're there. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just going to go through this pile and see what books I actually have in it, and then yeah, I don't know how long I've had these books for. So the first book in the pile is The 10th Kingdom. If you're old, remember this book. I never knew it as a book at first. It was a TV show, and now I really want to watch that TV show again. Like, that was an epic TV show. I remember hearing about it. It was like an Easter extravaganza, and like, it was, my memory, it was brilliant. I loved it. How long ago was that actually? I'm really curious, because I got this book a few years after it came out, so this has probably been the longest on my to be read pile, because I bought it with all the intention of reading it, and I just never read it. But I've gone through my books tons of times, getting rid of stuff, etc, and I never got rid of that one. So clearly don't do that. So clearly I have the intention of reading the book. The 10th Kingdom. The 10th, come on Sarah, do all of this before the video. Don't research in the middle of the video. That's the 19th Kingdom. I can't type, that's Google Maps. I'm a mess. I am such a mess. The 10th, right, the 10th Kingdom was, oh my god, look at it, it's so beautiful. No, tell me when it was out. Tell me when it was out. Tell me when it was out. 2000. This came out 19 years ago. 19 years ago this came out. So this has probably been on my TBR pile for about 15 years. Maybe. Yeah, so the 10th Kingdom is about this story of a girl called Virginia, who finds a portal to fairy tale world. So I suppose it's sort of similar to Once Upon a Time, but it's better. And she has to get back. She's trying to find the mirror to get back home, and ends up having to sort of save the world from the evil queen. and it's modern fairy tales. I love modern day fairy tales. They are the bomb when they're good, like season 1 of Once Upon a Time. So am I going to read the book? I'm probably going to watch the show again, actually, to be fair, and not read the book. I should read the book. I should read the book. I wonder what that song sounds like. It's in my head. The song's in my head. I love that song. Right, okay. What's next? A Whole New World, A Twisted Tale. What if Aladdin never found the lamp? I don't know why I have this. This is my little sister Leah's book. And it was at her house. And I just took it. Don't even know if I got permission. I'm sure something in here sort of like pulled me to wanting to read it. It's Aladdin, so I work at Disney, so you know, and it's Aladdin. Why not? And it's a twisted fairy tale, so I suppose it's sort of like a Maleficent type deal. But it's literally, what if Aladdin didn't get the lamp? Like, I know nothing else about it. That's probably going to be one of the last ones on the list, but we'll see. What's next? The Coram Boy. Oh, this book. I love this book. Technically, I've already read this book, but this was like, I read it 20 years ago, at least 20 years. Was it 20 years ago? When did this come out? 2000. Oh. So I didn't read it 20 years ago. I read it maybe 15 years ago then. I've read it. I've read the book. Around the same time I was reading Harry Potter, actually. It was a copy at my aunt's house, and I loved it. And I maybe bought this about 5 years ago, wanting to read it again. Obviously, I have not read it again. It's a Coram Boy by Jamila Gavin. I should really say the authors for these as well, shouldn't I? That's by Disney. There is an actual author. I'm derailing myself now, aren't I? Liz Braswell. And The 10th Kingdom was by Catherine Wesley. There we go. It's set in old times. I want to say Victorian. It's a tale of two cities, and a tale of two boys, and a tale of father and sons. So it's, I can't even remember what it's about. I think it's set in Victorian times, and it's about these two little boys and their life, I suppose. And I don't remember much about this book either. I remember loving it. Am I going to love it again? I will find out eventually, in a couple of years, I suppose. Switched by Amanda Hocking. This was a gift from one of my best friends, Shelley. And when did she get me this? Like 4 years ago? 5 years ago? Quite a while ago she got me this book. And I've always been meaning to read it, but I'm not a fan of books in general that have sort of a similar line to when the intense and darkly handsome newcomer Finn suddenly turns up at her bedroom window one night. Her world is turned upside down. Like, that's a romance book. That is a YA romance right there, if that sentence has anything to do about it. I know this book is going to be full of cliches. And is it fairies? It's fairies. I'm going to assume fairies. Something like that. Something like the Wicked Lovely series, I guess. I like the Wicked Lovely series. I won't like it now because I hate romance, but you know, I liked that when it first came out. So that's probably one of the last on my list as well, unless I make it one of the first and just power through it in a day, which I have done with books I hate before, because I never leave a book unread, except for one of the Game of Thrones books down there. I haven't finished that yet. The next on the list, which I bought this year. I bought this year, so this is my newest book. Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Yes, I have read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I read those first. This is the first in the Grishaverse that I know of. And the only reason I bought this, despite the fact it is a romance, because of the phrase that says, falls under the spell of the notorious leader, the Darkling. Like, that's a romance book right there. You can tell by the way things are phrased on the back that it's a romance book. It's going to be a romance book. I know it is. Probably not full romance, but like Shadow and Bone, no, like a storm of castle of ice and shadows and thorns and that other, I don't know. But yeah, I bought this in preparation for the series that's going to come out on Netflix, whenever that series comes out on Netflix. I still haven't touched it. That might be first, my reading list actually. One of the first. The next one, Fearsome Dreamer by Laura Eve. This I got at a train station, WH Smith, 5 years ago. I got stuck in London and I bought this book. Or I was on a holiday and stopped off at one of the stations and I bought this book. Something along those lines. And the cover looked interesting and the back looked interesting. It's got Hedge Witch in there. It's got the name Rue, and I like the name Rue because it makes me cry because of Hunger Games. And it has an interesting back. I just haven't read it, so I've had this book for a very long time as well. So this is why I don't buy books anymore, because they stay on my shelf for 10 to 15 years before I decide to try and read them, and then I don't read them. The next one is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. That's an awesome name. So I bought this in preparation of Miss Peregrine's, the movie that's going to come out, because if I like the look of a movie, I will read the book. If it's a book, I'll read the book first before I watch the movie, because then I can compare. Because I take pleasure in comparing how crap the movies usually turn out to what the books are. Percy Jackson, piece of crap. So this is still on my TBR pile because I've only read half of this book, and I don't know. This I got on holiday in 2016. I got a full holiday in 2016. I have yet to finish the book. I have not watched the movie. I have cinema sinned the movie. I have not watched the movie. So really as pointless me getting it in the first place. And yeah, it's about a mysterious island and an abandoned orphanage with strange people in it, and something about time, travel, something. I'm not very good with explaining books, so I'm going to be great with my pictures and queries, aren't I, when I eventually do it. So that's, yeah, I need to finish that book. Next on the list, The Trials of Apollo, Dark Prophecy. Do I need to tell you who that's by? I don't, it's Rick Riordan. And I bought this when it first came out. I'm going to say 2017, 2018, 2017. So I haven't started reading this yet either. So here's the thing, I have two Rick Riordan books in here. This is the first one, The Trials of Apollo. This is the third book, or is this the second book? I think this is the second book, because The Trials of Apollo is 5 books, right, and Magnus Chase is 3. Yeah, this is the second book, and clearly there's also now 2 more books of this out. And you know, when I first bought Trials of Apollo, the first book, I read that straight away, and then I bought this one and I just didn't read it, and I don't know why, because Apollo is one of my favourite gods. Like, that's clearly Leo on the front as well, guys. Like, come on. I just haven't read it. I just haven't read it. And the other book, because I mentioned Rick Riordan and I mentioned Magnus Chase, is Magnus Chase and the Ship of the Dead, which is the second. I don't remember reading these books. Which is the third book. Is it the third book? The Ship of the Dead. This is the third book, so this is the final book, right? And like again with the first 2 books, I bought the first 2 books and I read the first 2 books straight away. Partly because Annabeth is in them, because Percy and Annabeth are my favourite people in the entire world. Like, they are my favourite like couple. Like, nothing beats Percy and Annabeth, so don't at me with that. And, you know, this has actual Percy in it and Annabeth. And I read the first chapter. I skimmed through the first chapter, I remember, and I just haven't read it. And, you know, this is my favourite author, and this is my favourite, I suppose, book universe, and I haven't read that book either. So I'm doing a fantastic job at reading these books. So that's why I don't buy books anymore, except Shadow and Bone, obviously. I will go into the bookshop sometimes and look at books, but I'm so picky. I'm so picky about what books I read. Mostly because I cannot stand romance and don't want to read romance at all in my entire life. Like, I can't stand YA romance at all. Everything I pick up has YA romance in it, and I'm just like, no, don't give me that. I don't want it. So, and also because I don't want to keep them on my TBR pile with all the others collecting dust. My hands are grimy now. And yeah, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom are technically also on my TBR, or TBR again, list, because I love Kaz and Inej. I love the crew. I love the crew, and, you know, I do want to read their books again, because I think that was one of the more recent times I remember reading a book and being so excited about it that I had to immediately go out and get the sequel. Like, those are the books that stick with me. That's why I keep sticking with Rick Riordan, because his books made me do that. And yeah, I love books. I love books. I just don't read them. I'm such a crappy reader. And yeah, that's my TBR pile. I'll get to, there's probably a couple of Jodie Pickott's on there I haven't read either. I just started collecting her books ever since The Sister's Keeper. So there is probably a couple on there that I haven't read. Definitely don't really remember reading any of them, but I definitely have. Those are from university days. That was 10 plus years ago. So yeah, that's my TBR pile. Hopefully you'll be hearing more about 4 of those books by the end of the year, and hopefully I'll actually read them. That remains to be seen whether I'll actually do so or not. So guys, what are your top 3 books on your TBR piles? Is it bigger than mine? The answer is probably. Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Good thoughts and happy writing.